For the love of my life, I would never pay a single dollar for when I go and make love to my wife to have some
an Indian entering,
some Indian guy entering and watching everything from the corner.
In the cook chair.
Having a massive battery in your ass or in your brain, depending where you want to put the battery packs. I got my ass is charged. Plug me in.
It looks like a GitHub interface where you just ask agents and you just let them cook and you come back later to review.
Welcome to Watch Out for AGI podcast, your go-to podcast for the latest in AI. We dive into cutting-edge models, news, and products with insights from developers and creators worldwide. AI evolves fast, and we are here to keep you informed. So whether you're coding, building, or just curious about AI, stick with us to stay ahead of the game. This is Watch Out for AGI. Let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Watch Out podcast, the juiciest and the most analytical news out in AI. This week, we are beginning of November. Last year, we had a lot in November that was coming out, running into December, where you have the OpenAI days that are our countdown to Christmas. Can't wait to see that this year. Quite a few things that came up these previous weeks since our last podcast. We went over Haiku last episode. Very underrated topic. I don't think many people went over Haiku.
Still relevant model. I'm using it a lot.
You're using Haiku. You would say that after our episode together, you intentionally have been using Haiku a bit more, correct?
Not intentionally using it more. It's baked in Claude Code. And I think just the performance of Claude Code became better. And you can see your token usage. And I've been using Haiku through Claude Code a lot.
I, as well, have seen a lot. I would say that what I prefer the most from this Haiku model is how cheap it makes it to do asynchronous calls. And you can make 5 updates in 1 second, which is a huge speed performance. Huge.
That's a perfect segue, because the next topic we're going to talk is exactly about this.
Well, let's get right into it then. Emrick, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, absolutely. So the team behind Cursor, a New York team, by the way, New York forever, is building a new version of Cursor. They call it like their new biggest update. And you and me, Remy, we are like early adopters of Cursor. We really enjoyed it while it lasted. You, I think, paid more expensive subscription with them. And I think it's just an amazing IDE. But at some point, we became angry against them. And maybe this new update will help us be friend again with Cursor. Like, one of the first thing they introduced is exactly, as you said, a fast frontier model. Because you told me about Haiku, and Haiku, I think, has between 140 tokens per second and 200. You said exactly this. If you want to do async, and if you want to send multiple agents working on something, why not trying 5 different versions of a PR? With something like Sonnet or Opus, or like any like GPT-5, specifically GPT-5 High, they are slow models. And what with the new updates of Cursor, they also trained their new model, Composer. And they say it's almost as good as any frontier model. I would say probably Claude Sonnet. And it's 3 times faster. Do you use sometimes fast model in your workflow, Remy?
I don't choose. I let the Claude code decide to do the routing. However, that said, I would say that in my workflow, there are moments where I need a quick fix on a file. It's a 1-file deal. Let's say I want to serialize some JSON, but serialization today is no longer just adding commas. You want to serialize and check for spelling. This is something you would do with a frontier model. And when I select a fast model, I do select it for its speed. Not only the cost, also the speed. I feel like I'm wasting time and space running a large model to do such a small task, which at the beginning probably we were spending a lot of energy and tokens on. Today, it's a frontier model that I would select for this kind of stuff.
And now you're talking about the frontier model. So I have to remind you, Cursor has 30 employees. 30. We both work in like companies that have hundreds of thousands of employees. So Cursor had 30 employees. It's maybe more. You need to fact check me on this. And one of the things they really wanted to show off that is that this time they trained the model. This is one of the most controversial take because they say everywhere, we trained our own model with reinforcement learning. We trained it. Like we are big guys. We are training models here at Cursor. Like a lot of people actually fact checked this and they didn't really train a model. So they reused potentially a Chinese model, GLM model, or probably Kimi K2. It's probably more Kimi K2 because the Windsurf team in Cognition also train a model. And basically what they do is they do mostly fine tuning a model. So they take a model from the Chinese shelf, they just put it and they just try some error on it. Error being they probably have their own Cursor data and they are seeing that some examples that are showing that faster they can get solution or like a better solution. So Cursor with all this data, they reapplied error on top of another model and they were able to get something that is really fast. And they say the speed can reach like 200 tokens per second.
200 tokens per second is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So this graph is horrible. I've never seen such a horrible graph. And they say the fast frontier, what is the fast frontier? We don't know. Probably Haiku 4.5 can reach 140 tokens per second. Their model is supposedly even better than Haiku and even faster, but I hate that graph. Like, what does fucking mean? And like, it's their own benchmark. Like, it's such a horrible, and we need to try the model to actually understand if it's good or not.
Emrick, I have a question here. If this graph is so horrible, why don't we spend the time to make it a bit better? Let's go over, if we know them, the frontier models for each model provider that is out there today. Do you think you know the models that we would be comparing here?
There is no a lot of competition right now. What is the frontier model? It's mostly OpenAI and Anthropic. And it's either here the best frontier would be GPT-5 Pro or Sonnet 4.5. So the problem is I can go to the benchmarks of other companies, but I won't be able to like check because it's their own benchmark. I don't even know what means this benchmark.
If we go through each provider here, OpenAI, we know that GPT-5 would be the frontier model for OpenAI.
GPT-5 Pro, I think specifically.
Pro. Then on Anthropic side, I would say Sonnet 4.5.
Yes.
If we were to go to Grok, we're talking about Grok 4. Is that correct?
I think it's Grok 4 fast, if I'm not mistaken. Fast. Like right now I'm sharing, it's quite old. It's 3 months old and it's moving so fast. But here you see GPT-5 Pro being the best, better than Opus. But we both know that this benchmark doesn't mean, like it's a live benchmark. We know it doesn't mean much.
My question here is, would you consider Opus to be a frontier model?
I think so. Because the frontier model nowadays are the model that are trained with reinforcement learning to give the longest answer. They probably also have a better pre-training and like more access to a mixture of data, but they're just really long. Like they're just really long to answer and they usually provide you the best answer. I don't know. Have you tried Codex recently as an example? Codex the CLI.
I haven't used Codex in a long time. Yeah, no.
So Codex the CLI, you can switch the model. It can switch to high. And the moment you switch to high from medium, you are spending 15 minutes instead of 3. But it factually gives you a better answer, I think. So it's normal. I would say the model is trained to like fact check himself, like loop a lot. But it's just actually, I think right now, giving you the best. And that's what we could call the frontier model because it's just giving you the tip top, the state of the art IQ for a model.
This is actually interesting because I get a lot of emails, especially recently from Cerebras. Have you heard of Cerebras?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. They allow for super fast inference of model.
Exactly. And that just rings a bell. I'm just bringing it up out of topic here, but you can run GPT OSS on Cerebras, getting you the fastest GPT experience out there. We're talking about, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 tokens per second or something like this on a GPT model, which I find to be quite insane here, actually. Comparing this to what you were saying, where you get 15 minutes to run a a problem. 2,000 tokens per second, you would go through problems in 10 seconds in that case.
I think they are not doing it because it would cost more for the end user. Such a high model on fast inference would cost really a lot for the user. I actually haven't looked into it, but you're right. Theoretically, you can take like GPT-5 Pro and run it on Cerebras, and you can like get both super smart and super fast. If they are not doing it, it's either that like the architecture of the model doesn't allow to be running inference on Cerebras, or it's basically just a price problem.
You brought up this curve here from Anthropic. I remember we presented this when 4.5 Sonnet came. Yes, it's way better than GPT Codex.
Yes, but again, the problem with benchmarks, we don't even know which codex they are talking about because you have like 3 different versions of codex. So I guess they compare it to high, but I'm not sure.
Yes. So back to Cursor. Cursor 2.0 comes out. We have this composer model.
Yes.
Now, what else comes with this 2.0 version that makes it such a big deal?
So we talked in a previous podcast, and I think it was like pretty like we were really in advance. We are leader of thoughts. We are thought leaders. Honestly, one of the problem you have is managing multiple agents, and I think one of the products that is trying to tackle this problem the most is Cursor. And they really, the same way you could use GitHub and ask Claude to focus on a PR, you can do all of this inside of Cursor right now. So Cursor, you have 2 modes now. You have the IDE mode, that is like the classic Visual Studio fork, and you also have the agents mode. And your agents mode is mostly like a GitHub. It looks like a GitHub interface where you just ask agents and you just let them cook and you come back later to review. So I think this is an interesting take. I don't know if it will be the most popular one or like the most mainstream one, but they actually try really to fix this management of agents problem that we talked about, I think, 2 months ago.
I think they're really leading on this one. I would say, although to the defense of Claude, you can run as many Claude agents at the same time. They don't interfere unless they're touching the same files, I would say. And I don't think I've run into that situation before. But
are you using subagents? Are you actually using it right now?
Yes.
Oh, you do? You do?
Yeah.
And do you find it like giving you better performance overall?
Of course. I mean, the thing is that the system prompt, it's just tiring to have to make a large system prompt for a general agent. It's better to say, use this agent and use that agent and use this. And those agents, they come in and they have their own system prompts. It's obvious that it gets the job done better. It knows where to go for documentation. Let's say you have a front end agent. If it knows what libraries to use, you don't need to specify that. And you know it's going to get the job done. Now, I have different kind of agents. I have a front end agent. I have a GitHub issue generator. So you send it in. When there's an error, it creates an issue, details it well. Then you have a GitHub issue resolver, which knows how to grab that issue and start a diagnostics and see if it can. I mean, the problem here is, I would say, if it's a larger problem, you would need to either create a plan or, have some kind of validation. But for the smaller tasks, it would start to directly code and fix the issue. So you have issue, have PR reviewing, which also is built into Claude Code, which is very, very useful, and PR creation as well.
So Remy, here you're tackling the multi-agents on the same task. But here what Cursor is enabling is something different. It's parallel agents that are like maybe doing the same task at once. And again, another podcast, Remy, you're talking to me about how can I manage multiple time on Git, etc. And I think Cursor, it's not only Cursor. Like I actually found it on Reddit 4 months ago, but Git has this Worktree feature. It's a bit of a less used feature, but it lets you use multiple branch of one repository at once. And it's just perfect for agents to tackle the same repository and work on it at the same time. And then they will be merging it in the future. But I think actually agents are really good to merge branch. But in addition to your multi-agent approach, you can also manage multiple team of agents, and like they will be able to work on the same repository. And leverage the Worktree to do so.
I think this is exactly response to what I was running into. The problem is that I would like to fix 3 different things that should be on 3 different branches and that should not be pushed in the same PR. Here, theoretically, 3 branches run simultaneously, 3 PRs created at the end of the day. Everything stays with its feature. You don't need to do this massive vomit of fixes in one PR. And actually the PR review would usually say to me, hey, your PR is great, but there are things in this PR that have nothing to do with this. You should make 2 PRs. And I'm like, I know that.
They give this this example of like, I think it's used most as a benchmark, but like you can ask for the same feature for 3 agents, and then you will compare the version for the 3.
That opens another door here, because how do you compare the 3? You would need to run 3 different instances as well on your machine. If you want to test 3 browsers, 3 different tests, things like this. You need to think bigger than just creating 3 different versions of this. I would doubt that they have 3 ways to test at the same time.
So I think as an example for the footer to the website, we're going to talk about it, but I think it's quite possible that they might like leverage all the power of Cursor and actually have 3 different browsers. I'm not sure about this, if they're actually able to like open a browser to test, but it seems like they are able to do it. Like this is like a promise that Cursor is doing, that you can actually run parallel agents. Here it's an example for a benchmark. But if we come back to your example of multiple agents that are specialized, you could use different models that are more specialized for each task, and you can run them in parallel. It actually, I think, tried to solve the efficiency problem that we were talking in the last podcast, like how you can be more efficient using the agents. We are really entering a new paradigm, and I think this is like a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. I think that this is the answer to what I was trying to go for. And it might be a reason to go back to Cursor if you run into, I would say, productivity crunches with other platforms. I think you would need to be using the platform tremendously to get to this level of parallelism. However, if you're that user, it might make sense. The thing is, look, I use Claude Code also, price per token at the end. It's cheaper to run Claude Code. I know it's getting subsidized somehow or another, or it's just more efficient with the models. That's why it's cheaper. If you pay $100 a month, I swear, if you're just a basic developer that sometimes has a few spikes of work to be done, you will never run into that limit. Run on the Pro, the $17 or $20, I forget how much that is per month, you will run into the limit probably quite frequently, but you can get the job done. Cursor, my friends,
it's
all
consuming
around me
so much. It's consuming so much.
Are spending $300, $400 a month. So you would need to really justify. I mean, if you have unlimited budget, I guess go with Cursor. Emrick, that's a really good question. If you had unlimited budget, what would be your go-to tool?
Yeah, I think right now, especially with that new update, I would go with Cursor, I think. Yeah, because it seems like you can juggle between models more efficiently. Because right now I'm using Claude Code. I really love Claude Code, but maybe sometimes some model will be more efficient for different tasks. And I'm just not leveraging this at all because I am locked in. And I think Cursor is like the agnostic version of any agents out there. And I think I would pay Claude Code. I would pay Cursor if I had unlimited budget. But I think it's pretty inefficient, as you say, because Claude Code, $100, you can definitely code as much as you want. So I think you can get bills of like 600 to 1,000 a month. It's possible.
Now, there is also this browser that you can use. Will it make or break the product? Is this just a side project that they have? Is it worth the hype? What's the deal here?
So one of the, I would say, revolution in UX that Cursor brought at the time was from the chat, you could reference one of your files. Before, we had to like go on ChatGPT and copy and paste. And when Cursor went out, they added this way you add like a at the file, and it immediately load in the context the file. Then we started sending images. Like you take a screenshot and you started to send images. But LLMs really struggle with images. Let's say you have your UI and the footer on the bottom is like slightly too low in the page and like eating in the page. It's really hard for like a machine with a multimodal model to actually understand what you want, where are the elements, etc. So one of the better solution would be to go on your Chrome where you are testing, you do inspect and you point exactly at the element. And what Cursor did here, and I think it's great, they added the browser immediately in Cursor. And you can immediately point to the element from Cursor. And because you point at the element, you point really at the specific element, and the LLM understand, and the LLM have just a better understanding of what you're asking. And it's immediately added to the chat. So the div here is added to the chat. So I do think it's probably a super efficient way to work on like anything UI with Cursor.
Okay, I think it's worth giving it a go to see if that's efficient. Actually, I know this is not a perfect segue, but it does remind me of another thing that we're going to talk about a bit later in the pod. When you send in HTML, is that the most efficient way to diagnose a UI problem? Or is an image, in your opinion, what has a better diagnostic quality to the LLM, an image or HTML tags? And this is actually very interesting because it really plays in my flows.
So you're asking something interesting because when you compile a UI, we always need to look what it looks like. We need to look where is the element because you can do the calculation in your head and say, if I had 800 pixel plus 600 plus 100, it would be probably here on like screen of a smartphone and everything. But it's hard to imagine without seeing. And I think, I'm not sure exactly how it works here. It does not just give the HTML. Because it runs the browser, it's probably also give like a screenshot of like the element that you're showing. So I think you're right. Because as a human right now, it's just hard to understand without actually seeing the result. And it must be more than just giving the HTML. I'm almost sure.
It's a very interesting one. And I think the answer today is that depends on the model that you're using.
Probably, yeah.
Some models have better visual representation than other models. Some models don't even have visual modality to them. We know that when OpenAI's GPT-5 Codex came out, the most interesting part to this was it was very good at UI. It was better at building UI than Claude. And people were switching over to Codex just for that. I remember someone posting on Twitter, for backend, I use Claude. For the front end, I use Codex. Why? Because it knows how to do React. It knows how to run JavaScript. It just knows better. It has a visual awareness aspect to it.
I think it's usually the opposite. People are using Codex for the backend and Claude for the front end. Am I wrong here?
I think this is very interesting. I was under the impression it was the other way around. I thought that Codex was better at building front end and visualization. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, because recently, I would agree with you. Recently, I started using Claude Code for C++ and memory optimization, and it's actually not too bad. I think they really improved. Sometimes we don't see like the incremental updates between like 4, 4.5, 3.7, etc. But myself, I was pretty shocked that actually Claude became way better at other languages than just like JavaScript. It's becoming really good.
One thing that I saw that talking about this visual representation problem that LLMs have, I was looking for the tweet right now. I couldn't find it. Someone was saying, I need a map showing the flight distance from London to some city in South America. And I need you to put Brussels as well. And I need you to compare these two routes. It started to, it put the map, it pastes the map, then it starts to put the dots and the lines. And you look at the end result. London was in Denmark. Brussels was somewhere in the Netherlands. The other city was absolutely wrong as well. It had no geographic representation, no visual representation. It was absolutely wrong. And that goes to show that, text modality is completely different to visual intelligence. Some people are actually smarter. Some humans are smarter at visualizing graphs and maps, and reading books is not their thing. And some people can read a book and know everything about a subject more than people that run charts. So I think that we're running into the same issue here with LLMs. Some LLMs have better visual understanding, some don't. And that's why I wanted to bring this up for debugging UI. I think that it really depends on the model today. And we're not there yet. That's one thing that we're definitely not there in terms of quality.
Yeah, I have this other example. I have a friend that went into Colombia, and he knew which city he would go. Like, he wanted to create from LLM a map that would show which city would go through Colombia. And when generating with every model, it creates like a garbage map with Colombia being in the middle of the ocean. And
Yeah,
like the
it's
cities are
unbelievable.
completely off. I think a good benchmark, actually, if we could spend time, would be to see if LLMs are good at creating maps. I think it's an amazing benchmark to understand the world knowledge of the models. And I think you're absolutely right here. They are way off.
It's a good way. It's definitely a good way. And I would say today it might be better at visualizing with a photo coming in. Understanding is good. However, code and understanding the image from the code is definitely not something that is capable in most models today.
Yeah, and we might be missing it.
Now, let's move on actually to the next piece of news. This week was I think it was, the storm was taken from one X robot.
Yeah.
Which I'm not gonna say my opinion on this until we get to the opinions part, but it took a lot of space. I would like to see other robots take as much space, but I guess they were the first ones to come out this week. Were you able to see this? I mean, it's a rhetorical question. I think everybody saw it, even the people that are non-tech. Did you see a lot of memes? Did you see a lot of news?
Actually, if there is one thing that I really enjoy with this robot, is that people are messing around with it, but like, they are not too aggressive. You see a lot of memes of like, I don't know if you've seen that one with the robot is with the hypothetical wife in the bed. It's like, one of the risks of this robot is that they steal your wives. And I saw this image so much and I was like, oh, MG, perfect. Like, this product release has a lot of memes attached to it. It's really great. Just like, it's fun. They are trying to see the future and we're just like laughing around with it. There's also a lot of hate with this robot. Also, I swear, I saw a lot of irrational exuberance. Pure .com bubble from the 2000s. I saw this kind of post where, like, of course, you would pay $500 a month for this robot and it would like change your life because you would earn so much time. I saw this a lot. I saw a lot of these tweets. I love the optimism, but it's irrational at that point. Because do you know what the robot is actually ready and able to do right now?
I think I know. I have my opinion on this one.
I see.
I know there's a big asterisk here.
Yep.
It's massive. It's the biggest asterisk that you could have in the terms. It's bigger than a 30% APR.
Yeah.
I would say, let me start with a joke first and let's get into it. I saw a guy post on Twitter. He said, I see you guys are talking about how much this would cost per month. It's only $500 per month. It's 20,000. And how much value you can take out of this.
Yeah.
For the love of my life, I would never pay a single dollar for when I go and make love to my wife to have
an Indian entering,
some Indian guy entering and watching everything from the corner.
In the culture.
Oh my goodness. And that's a humorous way to get into the biggest flaw I would see here. The biggest asterisk is there's a dude sitting in a chair, and he is this guy. And basically, there's like a dude doing your dishes on the other side of the world.
Yeah, the idea is, if I understand correctly, is that most of the demos you saw are teleoperated. And in terms of latency, it's teleoperated from the other room. So they have a Oculus on their face and they just control the robot. And the idea and the pitch is, in the future, they should be able to deliver this next year. And the pitch is, if the robot doesn't know how to do one task, they would hire somebody in India to actually put their Oculus and do the thing that you want them to do. And the promise is that the algorithm would learn from it. And at some point, there would no need for an Indian behind. It's the same promise as autopilot from Tesla.
Again, man, I think today news goes through memes. And I would say reflection points goes through memes. I saw one that made me laugh so bad. Someone said, finally, we can have slaves again without breaking without breaking the law. We can fix immigration here. You can have immigration without immigration. You can be in America, but not in America. And I found that to be unbelievable. Like, that is insane. If you think about it, this could be a usage. It doesn't need to be automated. You could have robots where people are just working for you from the other side of the world and not even ironically making fun of this tool. This is still valuable. What is going on here is still incredible, technologically speaking. Having someone with that latency doing tasks is unbelievable. And even if your robot comes with a $1,000, $2,000 per month salary cost, this is still impressive.
Yeah, theoretically, you could hire somebody from another country that where the cost is less expensive, and it would be cheaper than hiring a person in your country. Because I don't know, in US, it would be minimum, I don't know, 100K to pay somebody to clean your house all the time, to be always here. I don't know about the price point, but maybe 100K. And theoretically here, you could pay somebody 6K to do it for your robot. That's such a deal.
It's a big deal. It's a no-brainer, actually. It's a no-brainer. But you would have to see what it could do with it, because I don't know if it would, what happens if this thing goes into the shower and then the guy just like decides to turn it on? Like, does that end everything?
Yeah, actually, I think one of the problems is that this robot, if it takes rain, it's broken. So that's why they say it should be inside or maybe sometimes outside, but with no rain. Yeah, it's not the most viable product. But, at the beginning, I was looking at this product and I was like, yeah, it's like one of these new companies. They're trying to raise money. Even if it's true, it's actually a super old company. They started doing robot in 2014. Like, it's not a new company. They exist for a long time. And it's a European company. They are from the northern state. I think it's Sweden or something. At least we should be proud of them.
We still have some engineers.
Yeah.
Now, so this robot comes out. It's the first one to speak, saying, "Buy me for 20,000." It's like a Tesla moment here. It's 20,000. It's shaking heads. And the thing is that they had first mover advantage. Now, in the heads of people, this thing costs 20,000. That's the price. That is the price for future robots. Oh, you can get a black robot too. It's interesting though. Like, they went with black. Why not have like a purple or green or whatever?
I mean, maybe in the future.
Eh? But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Your iPhone is often black, so it's like Pro. It's like your Pro Neo. I don't know. I think the colors make sense.
Yeah, I think, at the same time you should humanize, but I don't know. No, that's definitely interesting. And I don't know, you could probably pimp him out and like get like New Balance or something. That would be sick.
Yeah, I would say in terms of design, they added him like sort of a mock neck. It's actually a beautiful design. If there is one thing, there's a beautiful design.
I don't like the face though. I really don't like the face.
Though there is a thing that I quite dislike. The founders of this thing is getting bashed a little bit, and there is there was this other company recently that paid a lot of advertisement in New York, friend.com. And I think you have a lot of founders nowadays that are really happy because you talk about their product, and even in a negative manner. Like, let's say if I shit on your product, like I will shit it publicly, and the founders are really happy that people are shitting on it. And it's like rage bait in real life nowadays. And I swear the founders are super happy about it. I don't know if all press is good press here. I really like the idea. I think it's great. It's a nice launch, but I'm really weirded out by the fact that the founders nowadays are super happy about even bad press. What do you think about this, Remy?
I don't know. I think you're right about this is good press, especially with first mover advantage. I think that needs to be treated separately than any press. Although, today it's really hard to get yourself out there. So any press is good press in some way. I just think that for the first mover, you should really think about your first image, because you might be the reason that some companies get funding in the future. Why some people would buy another robot, your robot. You're pushing the industry forward. There's probably going to be a few other companies that are going to converge their deadlines to arrive sooner, just to have a response to this one. I think there's another big contender to this model. What is that company called that has a robot that is pretty much ready.
Oh, we're not talking about Tesla, right? It's another lab, another smaller lab, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because of course Tesla is known because they are working on Optimus and they are really betting their future on Optimus.
I have it here. Actually, it's Figure.ai. I prefer Figure to this X1 Neo. In terms of design, no, I still maintain. I think that this looks sick. This one looks really, really cool.
And I think the technology is just better because everything that they are doing here is autonomous compared to the previous company we saw.
The Indian
1X. Yeah. Indian version. Yeah, I think everything is autonomous here. It's not really because they usually do it in a special sandboxed house. So maybe this house has, I don't know, more sensors or anything. But I think the promise right now with this robot is bigger than 1X. But 1X gave them mainstream attention because X is promising that they will be able to deliver next year. And we would love to have Android by next year.
That's why I'm kind of pissed, actually, because you are saying it's next year. Next year is the robot year. That's when we were going to start to get them. I know that we need to start moving on this. But is the decentralized immigration model, is that the way you should launch a model? Is that how you launch a product today? It's kind of disappointing. I would not go for that asterisk. I think that it's an invasion of privacy. Talking about privacy here, and nobody is really thinking about that, but there is a massive privacy concern here. Massive. And so having not the same guy, another dude can literally log on. So we're talking about maybe 10, 15 people having access to your house. It's a bit freaky, actually.
You know, there was another company that did the exact same promise. It's Uber. Uber initially was created with the promise that in the future they would do autonomous driving. And they would start with hiring people and then they would switch to autonomous driving. And you can see sometimes that, yes, the promise is here, but you really need the technology. And Uber right now is basically just a second, they are just a platform that allows overlaps. Tesla is on Uber, I'm not sure, but Waymo is definitely on Uber. So I think it doesn't mean that you are first mover that you're going to win, really.
For sure. I would say very nice move. Unfortunately, you would not be my choice. I would wait for the second one to come, but just because you're not, and you kind of took the storm, you're stealing the thing, and you have that asterisk. You're stealing the storm without promising the same thing as the competitors. You're kind of faking your way in this point. Although your tech is incredible, your model is pretty sick. Why did you jump the gun? Continue working on your model. I don't know. And this might even be delayed at this point. I don't know. Is there a hard deadline for the sale?
Nope. No. They just say, and it's horrible, but they say 2026. So you're pre-ordering and you're expecting to have it in 2026. What does that mean? We don't know.
So yeah, this is the news of the Neo from 1X. Probably have some more news on that as it advances. I'm actually expecting people to cancel their orders as we get more clarification on this model itself, what it's able to do, and what you would be getting for your 20,000 and 2,000 down payment, I believe.
No, it's 200 down payment, I think. 200. So it's not a big deal if you lose your down payment.
Yeah. Now let's switch up to back into LLMs, I would say, back into LLM territory. By the way, actually, before switching, do you think that they're running inference-based models, or are these local?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's such a good question. The Tesla are local models. It's all running on a GPU in the car. So if they follow the Tesla call, it might be local. But just for latency purpose, because they probably, a human needs a super high latency for my brain to work, etc. in real life. And I wonder how good of a latency you can get by doing round trip to a data center. So I would assume, and I would have to fact check myself, local.
You know what? This actually brings up a interesting suggestion of the future.
Actually, it's 100% local because it's an NVIDIA GPU for robots specifically. And a lot of these robots are, and it's bullish on NVIDIA actually. They also do the fucking GPUs for robots. It is actually a GPU specifically for robots. I'm searching for it right now. But yeah, it is a local GPU. Yes, it's Jetson Thor. I'm going to share really fast. It's a Blackwell powered, yes. And it's it's a GPU, it's a local GPU for the robot. So I'm sure the inference is made locally. It's probably why the price is so high, actually.
I have a theory here to validate. These things need high energy use, and having a massive battery in your ass or in your brain, depending where you want to put the battery packs. I got my ass is charged. Plug me in. Oh my God, that's the bloopers. Instead of putting all this heavy weights and just having a robot that's able to, let's say, run in the fields, most of these robots are going to be indoor robots. And my serious question is, isn't it a lot more efficient to have, what would you call it? A mini data center inside your house running local GPUs that would be plugged into the AC/DC. It would be massive. The amount of energy, your bill would be fucking huge. And then you would use the tech to send large amounts of data to IoT devices. Is there? You have mesh. You have Bluetooth. 6 or 7? What are we at today? You have Wi-Fi 7. Massive amounts of data can go through at speeds that are up to like 10 gigs. Is there a future where you have 5, 6 of these? They are running batteries just for their actions, and their brains are connected to a local network server running robotic models.
I mean, it's a great idea. I just don't know because the problem is so you could just put a robot that has an empty head, just a pure battery robot, and the brain would be on this GPU, like the farm that you have. It can be a good idea because it means that you could like switch the robot for a cheaper price. That's an idea, actually. That's an idea. It could be also like, it means the robot could not come with you to a trip or something. Like it would not work for like a Tesla as an example, because, but in a house, why not? In a house, why not? Could be a different business model here.
So I'm seeing a few guys doing their do-it-yourself servers that they're able to run not cursor, but LLMs, and they were running into a few issues that I'm bringing up here. Again, we're going off really far off topic here, but running concurrently 2 requests on the same GPU was causing strains. So there's this whole local LLM world I see it growing on YouTube, on these platforms, of people that are building super cool futuristic solutions for this. I think that there's going to be a big industry here, and there's going to be solutions to parallel run multiple devices hitting on your server. There's a lot of IoT that could today benefit from LLMs, and strong LLMs, not just local ones. And having a local GPU farm could have advantages. I think your house could be way, way, way smarter today.
Yeah, it would be like a battery for generative AI, pretty much. Like you have your own battery for generative AI.
Yeah. That's far in the future, and that this comes at a huge cost. Of course, we're talking about thousands of dollars just to send it up, but it is a model that could work theoretically, and you could bring your cursor bill down. I don't see it today as a solution. The cost of cursor and these models is probably around the same. But if you are running 24/7, you're going to really bring down those margins, because you're just going to be paying energy instead of model cost.
Yep.
We were supposed to jump into Anthropic with their surpassing of OpenAI. Just a quick comment on that, Emrick. What do you foresee with this? Do you have the graph here? The news is Anthropic has surpassed finally OpenAI in B2B model usage. This is something that we've been talking about. It's not news because we've been saying that they are crushing the B2B market. What is your first take on this? Surprising? How far will it go? What does this mean for OpenAI? Who is benefiting from this?
That shows like Google is also like almost like reaching the level of OpenAI. I don't know what it shows. There's multiple things here. Clearly, we had the intuition that Anthropic was leading the state of the art for like enterprise model. And also when you talk to like a Claude model compared to OpenAI. OpenAI is always so sycophantic, like trying to be your friend. And Anthropic is more like a coworker. And also Anthropic, they really, when they released 3.5 Sonnet, they got their own ChatGPT moment because it was the only model that was actually aligned with developers. Like it felt like finally a model is trying to help us and to like help us like deliver good code. And so they did started writing it in 2024. It's actually impressive that they're even in 2023 they had 10 million. If you can see in million, I don't know the x-axis here, but it's still impressive that before they had that much revenue. So actually, I think 3.5 was released in early 2024.
Yes, it was. Yep.
It's actually impressive. It seems like they already had a lot of customers before. I think here we might be missing out on the fact that maybe their model were pretty good before. A lot of people really like the fact that the model of Anthropic is pretty aligned and they just continued writing it. And I think OpenAI doesn't try to address the big companies. They probably even have like different sales team. Maybe Anthropic is like attacking the big companies. I don't know if you've heard, but Anthropic, as an example, has hired, I think, 100 people from Morgan Stanley and a lot of people from New York, actually, to create a special team. I need to double check. I think it was OpenAI, in fact. But Anthropic was already hiring people in finance, specifically in the finance business, to train their model to be better at finance. And I think Anthropic understood this way before OpenAI, like the potential of the B2B market when OpenAI was riding their success in the B2C market. And I just think here you see a difference of expertise between these two labs.
I would say it really is not over. Did OpenAI make a mistake? That is the question. I don't know if they made a mistake to focus only on B2C. I would say they have huge success and everybody knows them, and they could turn it around still. If they wanted to focus on B2B, a lot of Karens and a lot of, what's the male version of a Karen, have no clue what Anthropic is. You can sell B2B to them in some way, in some digested version of it. I think that nobody is making a mistake. Things are just moving. They're taking ground where they can. And OpenAI definitely has an advantage about their name. GPT is all associated to them. And Claude has zero, like you say, I use Claude and people are like, they look around the room.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And even people working in big tech companies, you talk to them
Claude?
about Sonnet and they're looking at you like, huh, that's really impressive. We are in a bubble, Remy.
Who's Claude? Yeah, he's my...
Why are you talking about this guy?
He's my assistant. He doesn't work on Saturday or Sunday. He's he has a French accent.
The interesting thing in that, so we see Google like trying to follow up the Anthropic rise, but you see also Meta having like 15 mil and then going to close to zero at some point. Meta is not in a good point right now. I know they lost a lot of money, like a lot of market cap valuation. I'm sure it's not over. Clearly, they will be able to like deliver something. Just right now, in November 2025, it's really ugly what is happening at Meta.
Yeah, if we switch over to Meta just real quick, I know my opinion on Meta. Right now, it's a shit show. It's a complete shit show. They are firing 2,000 AI engineers after hiring, I don't know how many engineers. I don't know the numbers. I just know that they've been spending hundreds of millions of dollars on promises for stealing lead AI figure in the industry. This is a terrible sign. This is just a terrible sign. It shows that there is no leadership. There is no greater vision than quarter by quarter vision. Hire what you can. Let's see who stays. How much money does it cost? We can afford it. It's not about, okay, we need to start bringing down inference speed and we will be the leaders in that world. There's no bold message that is being sent out. It is all about creating headlines with hiring and firing. So I don't know. This kind of did a 180 on their vision, and it started to show on their stock chart. The 180 right there, you can see it's going back down.
Yeah, I think we should not discount them. Like, it's a really powerful company. They have a really strong engineering culture. They have like a really strong AI lab. it's just right now they try to take the direction of the personalized and like really social AI model. Maybe they will come up with like a really banger product. It's just right now their vision is not paying off yet. But I would definitely not discount them immediately. Clearly, they were able to show us that they're able to product really good technologies. So we'll see.
Yeah, good side note there. Good piece of news there. On that one, we will follow up. There's no models yet on Facebook, so when they decide to ship something, we will be the first ones to talk about it. But I don't see any meta models in the list of cursor models. I don't see them doing any video here. I think they did. I think that they did at some point, but yeah.
No, they're out of the race right now. And if they do not deliver anything, it's probably because their model are still subpar.
Well, that said, this brings an end to our episode 5, 6, I forget, of season 2, 5 of season 2. And we went over a few new points in cursor. Let's just say it, we're riding the robot wave here, mentioning the X1.
The 1X.
The 1X sock-looking figure that comes in white, beige, black, and that can watch you make love to your wife and stream it in 4K to a family of people on the other side of the world. Back to some B2B talk with the Anthropic models and to finish off some Facebook news. So yeah, pretty interesting week here. It is not as fast as what I thought it would be October. I thought we would see a lot more releases. But we're here to accept anything that comes our way. That said, if there is any requests to go over, any topics that you want our reflection on, put it in the comments. We respond to all the comments. Last time we had some really cool feedback from some people that were very nice to us. Thank you for that. That's it. Thank you, everybody. See you in the next
week.